In the beginning there was no God. There was only silence and the soft breath of wind over grass, the rustle of leaves, the spark of fire. And then, one creature looked up, not with hunger or fear, but with wonder. That moment, that pause between breath and thought, was the birth of everything we now call divine. For the first time, a mind saw itself reflected in the world. The stars above became eyes watching back. The thunder spoke, and the stillness between heartbeats whispered, "I am here." We didn't know the word for it yet, so we called it God. Welcome to Unmasking the Gods, where myth, history, and belief are stripped of illusion. Every week we lift the veil on religion's hidden origins, from ancient sun worship and astrotheology to the birth of angels, demons, and the gods within. If you're ready to question, to seek, to awaken, subscribe, like, and share this journey, because the story of God is the story of us. And this is where it began. Before the first temples rose, before the first prayers were spoken, there was only the mind. Humanity wandered through darkness and flame, trying to understand what it saw. The reflection in the river, the echo in the cave, the glimmer in another's eyes, all became sacred mirrors. Every flash of lightning, every shadow on stone, felt alive. We didn't yet understand the pattern of cause and effect, so we made meaning. Meaning gave comfort, and comfort became myth. In our reflection, we saw something vast staring back. It was us, but more. The first God was not born in heaven. It was born in the human mind. Our ancestors began to name the unknown. They gave voice to wind, to sea, to sky. Each element became a spirit, each pattern a story. Through those stories, consciousness spoke to itself. When a child looked to the stars and felt watched, that was not superstition. It was empathy turned outward. We were mapping the landscape of our own awareness onto the cosmos. The universe became a mirror for the mind. And through that mirror, myth was born. We saw death and wondered what moved behind it. We saw fire and mistook it for the breath of the eternal. Every ritual, every offering was not to please the gods, but to calm the trembling question within. Why am I here? What am I? And what happens when the flame goes out? The first prayers were not recited, they were felt. Awe was the oldest language, and silence the first scripture. In the still glow of the fire, we began to imagine shapes in the smoke. Ancestors, spirits, voices. The boundary between thought and world grew thin. Our dreams spilled into waking life, and we began to build meaning from mystery. Somewhere in the flicker of firelight, we discovered story. And through story, we remembered. The cave became the first cathedral. Symbols scratched into rock became the first commandments. And behind each image of beast or sun or star was the same yearning. To understand ourselves through the infinite. The gods we painted were not rulers of heaven. They were reflections of the human condition, courage, fear, love, and loss, given faces that could speak back to us. They were not lies, they were mirrors. As tribes grew and language evolved, so did the complexity of the divine. The spirits of forest and storm became pantheons, families of gods with emotions, rivalries, and destinies mirroring our own. We gave them wars because we had wars. We gave them love because we longed for love. Through them, we externalized the map of the human psyche. When the Sumerians imagined Anu ruling the heavens, when Egypt spoke of Ra sailing across the sky, when Greece envisioned Zeus atop Olympus, they were all telling the same story. The mind is vast and we are its dreamers. Yet in the mirror of the gods, something dangerous stirred. The more we worshiped the reflection, the more we forgot the source. We began to see the divine as something separate from ourselves, a distant perfection that judged rather than mirrored. And thus, the long exile began. Humanity's own image, now placed upon altars, became unreachable. The gods we invented to understand ourselves became the walls between us and that understanding. But every myth carries within it the seed of awakening. Because when we created the divine, we also created the possibility of remembering, that the spark we called God was never out there at all. It was inside, waiting for us to look again. And so it began, the dialogue between the mind and its reflection. Through ritual, we spoke to the unseen. Through dreams, it spoke back. The fire became an oracle, the whisper of wind a voice. The mind had discovered language, and what once was silence began to answer.